Hello beautiful people, welcome back to my YouTube channel. If you guys are new here, my name is Gianna Lian, and today I have my June and July reading wrap up for you guys. This one is a big one, you guys. I read 12 books in 2 months, but one of them was a DNF, but we'll get into that one. June and July were both crazy months for me, so I thought to just combine this to give you guys a little bit more value for my reading wrap up, and obviously give you guys my thoughts, opinions, ratings, everything like that, but everything is also in Goodreads, so make sure you go check out my reviews over there as well. To start off my month of June, we read Survive the Night by Riley Sager. Yes, I finally picked up a Riley Sager book, you guys, but I did end up only rating this one a 3.5 out of 5 stars. And I don't really know why, I just didn't love it that much. I think Riley Sager's writing was just so different to me, and it was kind of hard to get used to his writing because this book at least was told in majority third person with some comments being in first person. So I think it was just kind of confusing in a way for me because I've never really read that POV before. To give like a short synopsis, this book was just a complete mind scrambler. I honestly don't even know what to think. I read this so long ago, so it's hard to really remember, but I just remember feeling extremely confused, extremely like, I don't know what's gonna happen. I did not guess the end, which that is like the biggest thing I can say about Riley Sager's writing, is that it is so crazy that I could not guess the end. But this one basically just follows a timeline thrown back into 1991, which is also something I love. But basically the whole book takes place in one car ride with 2 complete strangers. It's said that one of them is not going to make it out alive. That's all I'm going to give you for the synopsis, because you have to go into this book blind. Don't even read the back. What I just told you is all you need to know, and then you just have to read it. Because it is so short, it was extremely fast paced, but because there is only the setting of really the car, I felt like some of it got dragged on a little bit, but I'm definitely looking forward to picking up another Riley Sager book. I know he just released a new one. Maybe I'll look into picking that one up and giving him another shot. This one was definitely a letdown for my first Riley Sager book. But yeah, with the end, I didn't guess it. It had me hooked majority of the book, so overall, I still would recommend it. The next book I read was Flawless by Elsie Silver, which is the first book in the Chestnut Spring series. First of all, I need to pick up the second one ASAP. That's the first thing I want to say. But I ended up rating this a 4.5 out of 5 stars because it was the ending for me, guys. I was gonna give this a 5 stars, but the last few chapters and when all the events unfolded, I was like, really? Really? It was so close to a 5 stars, but that ending just pushed it away. I just wanted more from it, and I wanted one thing to be different about it, and it wasn't, and I'm just holding a grudge about it basically. But it was overall such an amazing book, especially for summertime. I'm so happy I read it when I did. This one's really cool because we obviously have like enemies to lovers, also kind of like a grumpy romance going on, because Rhett, our main love interest, he is a bull rider and he has a really bad reputation of being just a complete jerk and basically not being a good guy. But then obviously Summer comes in and Summer has to be his babysitter, so we obviously also have forced proximity going on. It's just so good, and obviously that cowboy aesthetic we have going on as well, which is so perfect. And I didn't know that I loved cowboys as much as I do until I read this. The writing in this book was absolutely phenomenal. It was so perfect. I flew through it. I did actually end up annotating a lot of this book, which I forgot about, to be honest. I just was enjoying it so much. I found so much to annotate. Like every single page in here is like highlighted and everything. I just loved it so much. And this was actually sent to me by one of you guys, so thank you guys so much for putting me on this series, because now I need to pick up the next one. Then we picked up Mr. Wrong Number by Lynn Painter. We all know how much I love Lynn Painter at this point, but this was my book club pick with my Patreons last month for June, so I obviously had to read this. I ended up rating this a 3.5 out of 5 stars, you guys. A Lynn Painter book rated that low. Like, it honestly hurts me to say it, but that is the rating that it deserved, to be honest, in my opinion, because from her other books that I've read, this one just fell too flat for me. I enjoyed it, but not enough to rate it higher than that, if that makes sense. But I think the plot line was just really different for this one, and it had lots of social media involved, but not too much to the point where it was overwhelming. It was mostly just text messages, which I did truly enjoy, like text messages and emails and stuff. But this one basically follows Olivia Marshall. She's she's kind of in a sticky situation. She just got out of a breakup. Some things went down, so she has to move into her brother's apartment, but her brother has a roommate, which is also his best friend. So we have like brother's best friend trope, kind of enemies to lovers in a way because they don't like each other. I'm just gonna leave it at that for you guys to pick up if you want. But basically this whole thing started when Olivia received a random anonymous text saying, "What are you wearing?" She creates this guy, Mr. Wrong Number, because it's an anonymous text. And then the story basically just follows from there and her texting with this Mr. Wrong Number guy and figuring out who it is and what happens from there. And maybe I didn't enjoy it as much just because I was maybe expecting more from Lynn Painter. With her other books, I was just expecting more. This was the first adult romance book that I read by her. The other ones have been young adult, so maybe that's why it kind of fell flat for me. But overall, it was still such a cute read. It was so funny and I just had a really good time reading it. It put me in a really good mood. I think that's what I enjoyed most about the book. But because this one is the first one in the little series going on, I'm pretty sure the second one is The Love Wager, which just came out. I might pick that one up, but after not really absolutely loving this one, I'm not in a rush to pick up the second one, but I would be curious because I want to see kind of what happens. I don't know. It was just a very meh book. Then we picked up Fit to Die by Daniel Kala. I'm sorry for mispronouncing that, but I ended up rating this a 4.5 out of 5 stars. I really enjoyed this. Going into it, I didn't really know anything about it. I've never really heard of this author. It is a newer release, so I just kind of went into it not knowing anything, no expectations, nothing, and I really did enjoy it. I actually gave this to my mom to read for July. She really enjoyed it too, so that's a good sign because she doesn't read too many books. But this one was super cool, super different because it's basically a murder mystery thing going on based on these toxic, deadly diet pills that are circulating the internet, and it's told from so many different POVs, which can kind of get confusing. If you pay attention and you follow along with the storyline, it all makes sense on how all these detectives and cops and stuff are trying to pinpoint where everyone is getting these diet pills and where the main source is coming from and why there's so many people dying and basically just dropping like flies. I don't really know why I didn't give this a 5-star. I think it was just because it didn't give me that 5-star feeling, and some parts did feel extremely dragged out and repetitive because people would just keep dying and they would just be doing the same things over and over again to try to like figure out new clues and stuff, and it kind of got repetitive. But then towards the end, it definitely picked up fast paced to the point where I was like, oh my gosh, this is going so fast. I'm trying to comprehend everything. And definitely the one thing that kept me even more hooked than the book itself was the short chapters. It's not that big of a book in general, but the short chapters really just kept me going and kept me saying, okay, one more chapter, okay, one more chapter. And then the last thing I knew, I was done the book. Super fast paced, super intriguing. The plot line is super interesting, super different, and I didn't guess the end. I had some thoughts, but I didn't end up guessing it. So I highly recommend this one, and I definitely want to look in to see if they have any more books published. Then going down more of the summery route, I read One Italian Summer by Rebecca Searle. I did not enjoy this one, you guys. I was so sad about this one. It fell so flat for me. I ended up giving this a 3 out of 5 stars, and that is generous. I found this plot completely useless. Like when I was reading it, I was like, what is going on here? What is the point of this? Where's this going? It just felt so messy and pointless that I just was not drawn to the book, and I didn't honestly want to finish it. But the one thing I can say, and the main reason why this got above a 2 stars, is because the summer vibes in this were really good. The descriptions of the Amalfi Coast and Italy in general was very good, and it kind of transported me into Italy, which was what I wanted from the book. Other than that, I don't recommend this book. It wasn't necessarily sad, but it wasn't a feel-good book, and I know the synopsis kind of gives that to you and you know that it's not going to be like that, but it just was a very blah to me. There wasn't anything really exciting. I wasn't excited to see how the character was going to grow and how the character was going to overcome the challenges that she was going through throughout the book. I just cared about the descriptions of the places and where she went next for the activities that she did on vacation. I don't know. I just really didn't enjoy this. Maybe it was the writing, maybe it was the plot. I don't know. I mean, the cover's gorgeous though. I'll give it that. Next, I read a very different book that I've had on my shelf for a while. I read Love and Theft by Jocelyn Patton. This is a memoir of mental illness, as it says on the cover. I rated this a 4.5 out of 5 stars. This was very good. I really enjoyed this. I think it was exactly what I wanted from it going into it and more. The only reason I think I didn't give it 5 stars was just because it didn't give me that 5-star feeling. It was weird, but this basically is just the story of Jocelyn Patton's life and her explaining her experiences experiences going through living with all these mental illnesses that she was diagnosed with and stuff, and how she overcame some of them, the challenges that she ran into with it, and kind of just her growing up. There was so much character growth in this. It was just so insightful. I don't know why. It felt very inspiring in a way, because I feel like Jocelyn just never gave up, and I love to see that from characters, so that was super enjoyable for me. And obviously this book was extremely sad, so make sure you check trigger warnings on this because it is not a light book. It goes into extremely specific details, and I just want you guys to know that before going into it. I did annotate a lot of this book. A lot of it is highlighted, underlined, notes written, my thoughts, everything. I just felt so connected with Jocelyn and her story that I needed to say what I had to say on the pages. I highly do recommend this if you want a more serious book that's gonna make you feel very sad. Moving on to a more light-hearted book, I read Addicted for Now by Krista and Becca Ritchie, which is the third book in the Addicted series. I did choose to continue it. This one was the chunkiest one in the series so far, but I enjoyed this so much. I ended up rating this a 4.75 out of 5 stars, and the only reason why it wasn't a 5 stars was because, yes, I know that this is the transitioning book introducing the Calloway sister series, which is Kiss the Sky, the next one in the reading order, but I just wanted a little bit more focus on Lily and Lo for this book. Don't get me wrong, I love the Calloway sisters, I love all their friends and every other character in the universe, but because this one is still supposed to be focused specifically on Lily and Lo, I wanted a little bit more of just them. I feel like this one kind of just focused on Reich and Daisy for some reason. I did truly enjoy this because I love the characters, I love the writing, I love the plot so much, so it wasn't a terrible downfall, but that's the only reason why it didn't get a 5 stars from me. But to talk about spice level, this one was nowhere near as spicy as the first and second one were. This one was definitely on like the closed door side, not completely at all, but compared to the other two, it was nowhere near as spicy. And with this one, I don't know, Krista and Becca Ritchie took a different approach for this book than the first two, which I really liked, because this one they threw in that mystery element sort of. At the end of the book, I was shocked. I was not expecting it to be like a plot twist like it was, and I didn't guess it throughout the whole book. Just know that there's an element of surprise at the end of this one, and I personally didn't guess it, but I think that Krista and Becca Ritchie did an amazing job executing the whole plot of this specific book. It was just seamless. The next book that I read was on Kindle Unlimited. I officially am reading Kindle Unlimited books again, you guys. You guys should be so proud of me. I'm actually using my subscription. But I read How to Honeymoon Alone by Olivia Hale. This one I just picked up randomly. I was scrolling through Kindle Unlimited looking for a summer read that was going to be fast-paced, and I found it. So I just picked it up and started reading it, and I really enjoyed this. I had such an amazing time reading this. I did end up giving this a 4 out of 5 stars. I think it truly deserved that. Even though I've never heard anything about this book or the authors or anything, it just was such a good book, especially for summer. It had all the vibes there. But a little bit of backstory is this book is based in Barbados. There's two characters that are complete strangers. They were supposed to go on their honeymoon with their significant others to Barbados to like live this honeymoon, but both these strangers, their honeymoons don't end up working out, so they both go there by themselves without their significant others because it didn't work out, and then they meet in Barbados, these two strangers. And because both of their itineraries are meant for two people, they kind of combine them and are doing their honeymoon itineraries with the person that they just met, and things just go from there. I found it so interesting because this book is described as like a strangers to lovers and a very steamy like beach read, but I did not find this book steamy at all, especially if it's described as steamy. I was expecting it to be a lot more than it was. Don't get me wrong, it's definitely not closed doors, but it was just not spicy. The writing in this book was really good. The humor in this book was absolutely amazing. I was laughing the whole time. Along with that, because it is a beach romance, normally I'm not too eager to finish it, but with this one I just didn't want to put it down for some reason. It just had me hooked to the plot so well. And overall, I just really recommend this book. It has like the vacation aesthetic going on. Besides the little point of miscommunication, especially at the end, I truly recommend this book before summer ends. You guys just have to read it. Then I finally read Love in Other Words by Christina Lauren, you guys. I did it. I promised you guys I would, and I did. And I'm so happy I did. I don't know why I held off this book for so long. I don't know why I was scared to read it for so long. I ended up giving this book, you guys, a 4.5 out of 5 stars. That is how much I enjoyed it. I didn't feel like it was right giving it a 5 stars, only because of one reason, which I don't want to share because that would be a spoiler. But if we don't know what this book is about, I'm sure we all kind of do. This book has blown up so many times. romance. It does switch from then and now perspectives from each chapter. We also have like a childhood friends to lovers, but throw in the second chance there as well, because our couple that we have here, they were best friends ever since they were little, but then they had a falling out, and 11 years later they were apart. They never talked for 11 years until they ran into each other, and they start reconnecting again and building their relationship. But because they haven't talked for that long, they've obviously built completely different lives since then, so there's a lot of external problems going on that they have to figure out and work through. There's just a bunch of things that go on. And I think the main thing that I absolutely loved so much in this book, the love in it had so much passion, and it kind of like really made you believe in true love, if that makes sense. I don't want to sound cheesy, but it's true, because the romance was just so amazing. Just the way that they talked to each other and the things that they did for each other just made me feel so happy and kind of just like warmed my heart. So I really enjoyed reading about that. And I don't know, you guys, I'm just really happy I read it. It's a perfect summer read. I was reading this on the beach at some points. I was reading it tanning outside. It just was so perfect. Then moving on to my book club pick for July with my Patreons, I did read Beach Read by Emily Henry. Now, when I put this on my TBR, I told you guys before that I would not let myself read an Emily Henry book because I knew I didn't like her writing and I knew I just wasn't really interested in her books. But my brain and following the hype, I was like, just give it a try. You never know until you read one of her books, and it would be so fun to read it on the beach. That is why I've picked up this book, you guys. And honestly, I regret doing it because I hated this book. I have not hated a book so much in so long. I cannot tell you the last time I've hated a book this much, because I honestly gave this a 1 star. And the only reason why I got a 1 star was 1, the cover, and 2, because I actually finished it, so it gets a 1 star. I just feel like it was so boring. There wasn't anything that interested me, and honestly, the writing, I just really did not like it. The characters I didn't fall in love with. I didn't feel connected with them. I don't know, the settings weren't anything special. Yeah, they went on a bunch of cute dates and stuff like that, but other than that, nothing was really interesting. I didn't really care about them writing their books, and I don't know. It fell too flat for me. Maybe because I had doubts going into it, maybe that's why I didn't like it. I just didn't like it. Then I read Scarborough by Catherine Hernandez. This one is a more serious book for sure. I did end up giving this just a solid 3 out of 5 stars. It wasn't anything special, but I didn't hate it. It was a fast read, which I really liked. It honestly just talks about the realities of living in a less fortunate neighborhood, and especially because Scarborough is so close to Toronto, I wanted to kind of read about it. It was just really sad and really heartbreaking to know that these things are going on, and it was just really sad to see the reality, you know, because a lot of people know about this, but they don't want to believe it because it's so sad. And reading this book, it kind of put it into perspective for me and put me in the situation, so I really felt for the characters and felt more connected with them. But this one does follow a series of characters going through the same situation in Scarborough, like the little community, but it kind of shows how people are trying to build up the community and not give up on it and make it better, give more support to these people. And it was just really inspiring to see, kind of powerful in a way. I do recommend this. I just didn't absolutely love it. And then the last book that I read / DNF'd was The Summer of Broken Rules. I was not expecting to DNF this one, guys. I just truly did not like it. It wasn't for me. I felt like the plot was super immature, but I did know that because it was a YA romance, so I'm not surprised, but it just wasn't enjoyable. I felt like the plot didn't really go anywhere. I didn't really care for this big game of assassin. It felt like it just wasn't very interesting to me, which sounds so funny because it's literally a big game and a big adventure, and I don't know why I didn't like it. I just couldn't get into it, and I don't know, I just was put off from the book. The writing just wasn't for me either. It felt very immature. Like for a YA romance, it felt extremely immature to the point where I just didn't enjoy it. That is like my second DNF, I'm pretty sure, of 2023, which pretty good if you ask me, but I was not expecting that one to be the DNF. So yeah, I was really excited to go into that one too because I wanted to buy the paperback because it's so beautiful, but I can't now because I just don't like it. Those are all the books that I read in June and July. We have a lot, and a lot of them are annotated. That is why it probably also took me so long to read the ones that I did, because I really wanted to annotate them and dive into them and analyze them and all that stuff. So those are all the books that I ended up reading the past 2 months. Let me know down below what books you guys read, specifically in July, but you can throw in the June ones too. I would love to know what you guys are reading, all your opinions, your ratings and stuff. Give me some book recommendations, you know, all that stuff. I really hope you guys enjoyed today's video. video. If you guys did, please make sure you like, comment, subscribe, all that YouTube stuff you guys know how to do. And also, let's try to get this video to 200 likes. I would love to see that. Please, please, please give it a big thumbs up. Let's get this video to 200 likes. And don't forget to check out the link in my description for my Patreon to join the Patreon family and see all the behind the scenes and all the extra exclusive Patreon only content. But other than that, I really hope you guys are having an amazing, wonderful day, and I'll see you next time. Bye! Ah! Okay, can this sun go away? Like, why does the sun have to do this to me? Hello, sun. What's his name? Oh, there's the note. I think that's, no, that didn't make sense. Next.
I'm not sure I understand.
Okay. I did end up getting, hello? No, what's so weird?